A woman came to see me last week, 42 years old, with a successful career. She had dedicated 15 years to a relationship she described as perfect. She cooked his favorite meals, remembered every important date, and listened to him talk about work for hours. She even sacrificed career opportunities to support his endeavors, and yet he left her. The question she asked me has been echoing in my mind ever since. What more could I have done? This question reveals a tragedy that plays out in homes around the world. Women who give their all, only to find it's not enough. Women who love with an intensity that hurts, and are still abandoned for no apparent reason. Not because they lack something, not because they don't deserve to be loved, but because there's a crucial element they've never been told about. Something that operates in the shadows of every romantic relationship. Love, as we understand it, as it's sold to us in movies and books, is just the tip of the iceberg. Something infinitely more complex and profound lies beneath the surface. And as long as we continue to believe in this superficial version, we'll keep losing relationships that could be extraordinary, that could last a lifetime. What I'm about to share might make you uncomfortable. It will challenge everything you think you know about love and relationships, but it will also free you from an emotional battle you should never have had to fight alone without the right tools. There's a male emotional code that operates silently in the depths of every relationship. It influences every decision, every feeling, every moment of genuine closeness or inexplicable distance. When you're unaware of this invisible code, when you don't understand how the male psyche works, you can give all your unconditional love and still watch him pull away. You can be the most devoted, understanding, and loving woman in the world and still see him searching for something indefinable, something you can't identify or provide. You can love him to the point of emotional and physical exhaustion and still not achieve that deep and lasting connection you crave. After more than 3 decades of observing this complex emotional dance between men and women, I've discovered something that will forever change the way you understand relationships. Men don't leave because they stop loving. They leave because their deepest emotional needs remain unmet, even to themselves. Needs that go beyond traditional romantic love, that transcend physical passion, that touch such intimate fibers of the male soul that, when unfulfilled, create a void that no amount of conventional affection can fill. This isn't about abstract romantic theories or superficial self-help. These are concrete, scientifically verifiable neurological patterns that consistently repeat themselves in the male emotional structure. Evolutionary patterns that, once understood and applied wisely, can transform an ordinary relationship into an extraordinary and irreplaceable connection. But they can also explain why so many wonderful women feel like they're speaking a language he simply doesn't understand or value. Allow me to guide you now into the deepest territory of male psychology. The first of these fundamental emotional needs is so subtle that it goes unnoticed in most relationships. But it's so incredibly powerful that it can determine the fate of any loving bond. It's what, after years of clinical research, I've termed the authentic validation of his essential worth as a man. I'm not referring here to superficial and automatic respect, to the basic social courtesies we learn through upbringing or cultural pressure. I'm talking about something much deeper, more visceral, more transformative, the genuine, specific, and deserved recognition of his fundamental capability as a masculine being in the world. Imagine, for a moment, that every day of your life, someone important systematically questioned your natural abilities, your inherent understanding, your innate capacity to connect deeply with others. Imagine constantly being told, with the best intentions, how to improve upon something you instinctively know how to do, something honed over millennia of evolution. This Persistent, subtle invalidation is precisely what many men experience daily in their relationships, often without anyone realizing it. The male brain, shaped by evolution, instinctively seeks validation through direct acknowledgement of competence and the ability to navigate the world. This isn't about ego, it's fundamental neurobiology, as basic as breathing. When a man feels his decisions are consistently challenged by the most important person in his life, that his judgment is systematically undermined or corrected, that he's perceived as someone who constantly needs guidance, like an irresponsible teenager, something essential breaks in his emotional connection. This is where many loving women misunderstand this need. They believe recognizing a man's worth means blindly agreeing with everything he does, regardless of the consequences. It's not that at all. It means something far more sophisticated, the ability to see his genuine intentions, even when his actions are imperfect or flawed. It's about truly listening, without immediately correcting. It's allowing him his own natural process of learning and growth, without becoming his constant emotional supervisor, his perpetual teacher, his self-appointed moral compass. I vividly recall a conversation that completely shifted my professional perspective on this dynamic. A brilliant patient told me, with visible frustration, he just keeps making the same mistakes over and over. It's like he never learns. I responded with a simple question that opened her eyes. When was the last time you acknowledged something he did well out loud? The silence that followed was deafening and revealing. She realized she'd spent years pointing out every flaw, every error, every misjudgment, completely forgetting to appreciate his strengths, his daily successes, his genuine efforts. Without realizing it, she had created a toxic dynamic where he was the perpetual problem student and she, the permanently dissatisfied teacher. When a man feels his core masculinity is seen and valued, especially after being vulnerable or failing at something important, a powerful reaction occurs in his brain. A surge of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is released, along with dopamine, reinforcing the connection with you as a source of well-being and stability. At that moment, you're not just someone who loves him, but someone who truly sees him, who appreciates his essential masculinity. This leads me to the second masculine emotional need, the primal drive for meaningful contribution. Men need to feel tangibly useful, but not in the superficial way many assume. It's not about feigning weakness or creating artificial problems for him to solve. It's something deeper, tied to male psychology. The male brain evolved to respond intensely when it can add real value, when his presence makes a difference to your well-being. For millions of years, men have developed brain circuits that light up when they can protect, solve problems, or contribute to the well-being of those they love. These aren't cultural patterns, but primitive brain structures. When a man feels he can be your emotional rock, your trusted advisor, your safe harbor in uncertainty, his purpose-driven reward system activates. It's a sensation more intense and lasting than physical pleasure. I've seen relationships on the brink of collapse transformed when the woman understood this need. It's not about diminishing yourself, but about allowing him to step up and contribute in a unique way. A simple phrase like, "I feel safe when I share my ideas with you," can forge a deeper connection than 1,000 automatic "I love yous." Let me explain a crucial distinction I've observed. Men don't want to be the center of your universe, demanding constant attention. They long to be your safe space, your emotional sanctuary. That distinction is key. When he feels he provides stability, that his words carry weight, a visceral loyalty emerges, transcending romantic love. There's a third need as well, the quietest and most misunderstood, the sacred sanctuary of vulnerability without judgment. It resides in the depths of the male soul, where few women are invited. Our culture has created a problem for men, the prohibition of emotional expression. From an early age, they learn that showing emotions is a sign of weakness. Don't cry like a girl, be a man. These phrases construct male emotional anesthesia, the inability to recognize and express emotions. The result is devastating. Many men reach adulthood emotionally numb, hiding inner battles behind humor, silence, or indifference. It's not that they don't feel, but they've learned that feeling openly is dangerous. When a man finds a space where he can be vulnerable without fear, something extraordinary happens in his nervous system. The parasympathetic system activates, releasing oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Neurologically, he feels safer with you than anywhere else. There's an obstacle. Out of maternal instinct or a desire to help, many women respond to male vulnerability by trying to fix the problem, offering unsolicited advice, or comforting prematurely. Without realizing it, they close the door to the emotional refuge. The ability to simply be present with his pain without trying to change it is an advanced skill, allowing shared silence to heal, unconditional acceptance to soothe, is holding the sacred emotional space without encroaching upon it. When a man experiences this genuine acceptance, he falls even harder and bonds on a level that transcends romantic love. It's a primal bond that touches basic emotional survival, becoming a need as essential as breathing. I've observed that relationships that last for decades aren't necessarily those with the most initial passion, but those where these three male emotional needs are consistently understood and honored. Romantic love becomes the natural outcome, not the forced starting point. But why are these needs overlooked by women who love deeply? The answer lies in a mistake of emotional projection. We've been taught to give what we want to receive. Women connect through verbal expression, through nurturing care. Naturally, we offer what we value in our female emotional system. Men, however, operate with a different system, developed over millions of years of male evolution. They connect through the recognition of their capability, a shared sense of purpose, and the emotional safety to reveal their humanity. These are different, yet complementary, emotional languages. For years, I tried to convince my patients that intense love was enough. I was projecting my own romantic ideals onto a more complex reality. The truth is, love without understanding becomes insufficient, fragile, and vulnerable. It's not about men being more complicated, but about acknowledging that they operate with a different emotional framework. When a woman understands this framework, she doesn't need to compete based on physical appearance. She becomes something more powerful, emotionally irreplaceable, because she connects with the deepest needs of a man's soul. This doesn't mean sacrificing her authenticity, but expanding her emotional intelligence. Mature love requires emotional wisdom cultivated through experience. I've witnessed women who, after decades of frustration, finally integrated these principles and experienced deeper connections. Mature love isn't based on blind passion, but on understanding and the ability to nurture each other's needs without losing oneself in the process. When these three needs are authentically met, something extraordinary happens in a man's brain. The same neural circuits that activated in childhood when he felt safe and valued are reignited. It's a positive emotional regression that fosters profound loyalty. Recognizing his essential worth communicates, "Your way of being a man has real value in my life." Activating his sense of contribution conveys, "Your presence makes a difference to my well-being." Creating a sanctuary of vulnerability allows him to experience, "I can be completely myself with you without putting on a front." When a man consistently experiences these three elements, love ceases to be a conscious choice and becomes a neurological response, a fundamental emotional need. It's not manipulation, but understanding applied with integrity. The difference between a lasting relationship and one that fades lies in the emotional wisdom to nurture the needs of the human soul, respecting neurological differences. Love alone will never be enough, but love, combined with profound understanding, becomes unbreakable. Women who master these principles don't compete with other women, don't fear aging, and don't agonize over every emotion. They've built a bond that deepens with understanding, strengthens through crises, and becomes more valuable over time. When you master the male emotional connection, love stops being a struggle and transforms into a dance, where both find an emotional haven. When you satisfy the needs of a man's soul, you earn his enduring loyalty, and emotional loyalty born from understanding transcends time and challenges. There's a difference between superficially applying these principles and authentically integrating them. Men detect the difference between forced and genuine appreciation. The difference lies in the intention. When you apply these principles with love and a desire to understand, they become natural. Some relationships aren't meant to work, some men aren't available. What these principles guarantee is that you'll have the peace of mind knowing that you gave it your best, that you built something solid. And if a relationship doesn't work out, you'll have the clarity that the problem wasn't you. You were destined for something better, for someone who values your emotional understanding. When you understand these principles, you become a woman who not only knows how to love, but how to be loved. You don't settle for less than you deserve. You don't accept superficial connections. And that's the greatest gift of all, the ability to reshape your relationships and yourself, to evolve into the woman who fosters emotional security, inspires affection, and earns unwavering loyalty, who nurtures connections that stand the test of time. True love isn't a matter of chance. It's a deliberate creation, born from the insight that loving isn't enough. You must know how to love effectively. When a woman possesses this understanding, she not only transforms her relationship, but she also reshapes her destiny, becoming the woman men not only desire, but fundamentally need in their lives. That woman is you. Now that you understand this principle, the question isn't whether he'll choose you, but whether you'll choose to become the woman who understands, connects, and transforms. The love you're seeking is waiting on the other side of that understanding. To further enrich your self-discovery and enhance your relationships, consider exploring additional resources on emotional intelligence and authentic communication. If you resonate with the challenges and insights presented here, leave a comment sharing your experience or question. Your participation enriches the discussion and can inspire others. And if this guide has been valuable to you, share it with those you believe could also benefit from this profound understanding. Your action can be the first step in transforming lives and building more meaningful relationships.